Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Swett, I'll start with this real-world example we just had during Winter Storm Fern, which I think was a good real-world test and an example across different states that we can kind of compare and contrast. But the results, I think, were pretty clear that areas with sufficient pipeline capacity and access to domestic natural gas experienced lower prices than those that didn't, and the reliability factor was indeed higher there as well. In the Northeast, the limited pipeline capacity meant that power plants couldn't get enough natural gas when demand peaked, and as a result, grid operators had to burn oil and rely on imported energy to keep the lights on. But meanwhile, states closer to natural gas production in the Appalachian Basin saw much lower prices, and this was not a shortage of energy, but it was a failure to move it when it was needed. Price data during the storm showed that consumers in New England and Connecticut and New York paid between 115% and nearly 300% more for natural gas than they did in places like northeastern Pennsylvania. And those price differences indeed worsened as the storm intensified. So my question is, how is FERC approaching the timely permitting of interstate gas pipelines needed to serve demand and lower cost for Americans everywhere?
Thank you very much. That's a very important question that we are all unified in looking at how we can develop more infrastructure to reduce costs for Americans, as my colleagues have said today. When it comes to specific pipeline applications that come before us, as Congress has required under the Natural Gas Act, we have to take a hard look of whether or not an individual application is required by the public convenience and necessity. And a big part of that analysis is whether the pipeline will bring economic benefits to the public, and in many cases that would come in the form of lower costs on utility bills.
Let's kind of pull on that thread a little bit more. How is FERC working with states that block pipelines? And how are you balancing the affordability mission when you have states like New York that actually kill pipeline projects?
That is a $100 billion question. Well, effectively under the regime that Congress has created and the Clean Water Act, states have the ability to veto a project if they do not give a certification. And that is a problem that FERC simply cannot work around. And if Congress saw fit to change that, we would be happy and ready to implement any directives.
Is it your belief that having those pipelines and the capacity to deliver that natural gas lowers prices?
Well, I think, as you very wisely stated at the beginning of your comments, the proof is in the pudding. The fact that areas that don't have enough gas are paying maybe 300 times what they should, as you said, is unacceptable. That is not a just and reasonable rate for Americans.
So these states are basically saying to their own constituents, we don't care. You're going to pay up to 300% more when demand peaks, and we don't have the capacity to deliver what you actually need. That is a sad reality that we're living in. But let's talk about dispatchable energy. In New England, more than 40% of power generation came from fuel oil during the coldest period of this storm, and despite aggressive policies intended to reduce fossil fuel use, we still saw those numbers. Similarly, New York relied heavily on natural gas, on nuclear, and dual fuel generation to maintain that reliability. So maybe talk us through, and is it fair to say that without access to dispatchable fuels, particularly natural gas, many regions would face reliability challenges? And maybe talk us through the reliability challenges specifically that you see.
Thank you for the question. Using the storm that impacted millions of Americans, I think, is a great paradigm to look at this. If you look at the peak demand of the country, if we combine them all together, and that was overseen by our Office of Electric Reliability at FERC, who worked around the clock, 42% of the power provided and that kept Americans warm during Fern was gas across the country. And coal was 23%. Nuclear was 14%, and petroleum was 4%. If you put all those numbers together, over 75% of the power that kept our grid reliable during Fern came from dispatchable generation.
What does FERC stand for, the acronym?
FERC has no ability to choose a generation mix. That is squarely within the state's purview under the Federal Power Act. We accept the generation and the market design as it comes to us.
I was talking about the reliability piece, the R, but yes, thank you for that, because that's where I was getting at. And you've read my mind, and I yield back.
Well, thank you very much.